Hey guys, it's Matt here, and today I'm bringing you another episode of Matt Rants. So, as you can tell from the title of the video and the thumbnail, we're talking about cloud saves. Oh, cloud saves. Everyone loves them. Not what Nintendo is necessarily doing with them, but everyone loves the cloud saves. So, this is kind of a follow-up to the Nintendo Direct Matt Rant that I did just yesterday. This actually, I didn't know about this until I finished recording and releasing that Matt Rants. Once I found out about this, I was like, oh, that's getting right up on that docket. We're pushing some other stuff aside. This needs to be talked about. So if you guys don't know, basically there's an FAQ portion on Nintendo's website regarding the cloud saves, regarding Nintendo's service, online service. You can call it a streaming service because it has some older games on there, NES, and hopefully more in the near future, but it's also an online service in general because you can play online there. In case you don't know, also some games, not all games, not even all first-party Nintendo games, support cloud save functionality. Now, I'm not even getting into the reason why that might be problematic, but if you don't know why, it's because of the fact that Nintendo's games, for some reason with their saves, you can go far back enough in a save, just like you could, I think, with any game that allows you to have a win-loss record back in the day, like PS2 games, stuff like that. I think back to like SmackDown vs. Raw, where I could go to my last save to, get my win-loss record back. But I didn't use online for the PS2. You technically could, by the way. I think you still might be able to, actually. But I don't use online. I never used it. So when it comes to games like Splatoon 2 and other games, that involve online functionality and leaderboards and things like that, Nintendo's worried that people will go back to their saves, which will have their win-loss records intact, and it's not fair. No one will have a win-loss record. That's their reasoning for it. I'm not even getting into that. I'm going to get into the logistics of that and wait, why are leaderboards saved in the same area that, like locally, like on your Switch? I'm not even going to get into that. Let's move away from that and let's talk about the fact that apparently if you don't re-up your subscription, whatever, and I do think that subscription is actually pretty cheap, but if you don't re-up it, then you don't have access to your cloud saves. Now the wording is strange because if you don't have access to your cloud saves, then to me I'm like, okay, that's bad, but does that mean that the cloud saves are saved somewhere, stored somewhere that will be reactivated once you reactivate your account? Or did Nintendo's wording lean more towards, oh no, they're getting deleted? Because from what I've read, and I'll get the exact quote in a second here, from what I've read, I think it can go either way. And the reason why I'm saying this in particular is because of the fact that I haven't re-upped my PSN, my PlayStation Network, in a while. It's frustrating because I have a lot of games that they gave me free on PlayStation Network that I can't access. I can't access them, but they're still on my hard drive though. So when I re-up it, when I want to play some of those games, if I do sit back and go, you know what, I really do want to play those 10 games, let me just throw another 15 or something like that, and then it'll be just fine. So what I'm getting at here is that the games weren't removed, they're just locked. So I'm wondering if these cloud saves will be locked and not removed. Now, what people are saying online in general, though, is even if you aren't a member when it comes to, PSN or when it comes to Xbox One, you could still access your cloud saves. That's what I've heard. I don't use cloud saving on the PS4. I don't have an Xbox One, but that's what people have been saying online. And I do know as well, speaking of something I do know, Satish Ram, a fellow Let's Player and podcaster that we have on the channel, he hasn't been on in a while, but we're going to wrangle him back in. He has Final Fantasy 14, and he says to me all the time, hey, sometimes I don't re-up my subscription, but my character and all of my data actually gets saved on a Square Enix server somewhere. So when he comes back to it in a month, 3 months, I think at one point it took like a 6-month to a year break because he was like, it's too much. He was, doing so much at the time. He was like, you know what? I think it's a bit too much to be adding on, an RPG onto this as well. And he basically took that time off, came back, everything was exactly the way it was. So it's interesting because he obviously wasn't able to access it and access that data if he didn't pay, Square Enix the money to do so, for the subscription. But at the same time, the data was still there. So I think, and again, I'm going to get that quote up right in a second, it isn't it doesn't strike me as hard. And maybe that's because, again, I don't really use cloud saves, and I don't have the Switch, and I know that the Switch does not have a lot of, it's very low when it comes to space and everything like that. And you don't want to feel like you have to buy a bunch of different SD cards. It should be built into the Switch, arguably. And I totally get where you're coming from there. But I just think that it isn't that hard of a blow, to me anyway, if, I can access my cloud save, but it's still saved somewhere. Alright, so here's the thing. There's some articles online, and I will post them in the description box down below, that say something completely different, and I'll get to them a little bit later, because right now I'm on Nintendo's website, and they may have changed some things around, or I might be in the wrong section, but I'm at the FAQ for Nintendo Switch Online, and it says right here, here's the question. After my Nintendo Switch Online membership expires, the typos and the stuttering is me, not the question. Will my online save data and my Nintendo Entertainment System TM Nintendo Switch Online data be erased? So, yeah, basically their response was, I'm going to give the exact quote here, save data stored via the Save Data Cloud Backup is available for as long as you have an active Nintendo Switch Online membership. Classic games in the NES-Nintendo Switch Online collection and the save data for those games will not be removed unless the user chooses to do so manually. These items are stored locally on Nintendo Switch, but cannot be accessed without an active Nintendo Switch Online membership. Okay, so from the looks of it, what they're saying is if you've gotten a game through Nintendo Switch Online, that save data is stored locally, and you can remove that if you want to. And also the games as well. But when it comes to games that you've uploaded personally to the cloud from your system, they're saying that it is available for as long as you have an active Nintendo Switch Online membership. Available. Again, I understand some people being like, but I would like to access that without the membership. I totally get where you're coming from, but according to this is Nintendo's website, which also will be linked down below. It is available until that point. It doesn't say that it's erased and that it's gone, because there are some people in some articles, and again, maybe they're in some different sections. I'm going to look them up here. There's one from Polygon as well, and I'm going to see right here just to make sure, because there are some articles that have been saying, no, they're going to get removed, or that Nintendo cannot assure you that they will be saved. And those are two very different things compared to what I just read right now. So this one Polygon article is just extrapolating from that it would be removed and lost to time. And then Nintendo said, apparently they reached out to Nintendo of America, and they said, we have nothing to announce on this topic. You might, though. You probably should, because it does seem like people are taking that, that FAQ quote, and they're immediately taking it to the extreme, which I'm not saying that can't be a possibility. All possibilities are possible. Whatever you think might happen, please comment about it in the comment section down below. I just do think that, not that we should give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt necessarily, it's just the idea that other things, like the games, when it comes to PS4, the PS4 that I have, are inaccessible. Now, again, I don't know about cloud saves. From what people are telling me, no, cloud saves are accessible, in which case, that is definitely a failure on Nintendo's part. That is a fault, definitely. But it doesn't come off as they are gone forever. They're going to be wiped out. I would suggest keeping saves locally if you can, but again, if you have the cloud save service, that's kind of what you shouldn't have to keep them locally. And again, that's understandably why, I'm not saying people shouldn't be upset from a certain angle, but at the same time saying that, I guess they're going to be gone forever, that isn't what Nintendo's FAQ is saying, however. But I'll keep on scrolling through some other articles, and again, they'll also be posted down below in that whole description box area, because I'm really curious if anyone actually got in contact with Nintendo to see if they added any more potentially damaging, responses to this issue. Yeah, a website called Variety has an article here that says Nintendo can't, quote-unquote, guarantee that cloud save data will be retained after a, quote-unquote, extended period of time, but they don't have a link to those quotes, because that wasn't at all what was said in that FAQ, and I really want to know where they got that info from. Although, again, it's funny, Nintendo support, according to them, has said, while we have nothing additional to announce on this topic, please be assured that we listen carefully to the feedback from our consumers. I hope you do, because there's some feedback going on right now from a lot of people online, and it's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy, Doc. This is another quote from them, not the heavy Doc part. We are consistently working on ways to further enhance the experience of using the system. Okay, you're gonna need to do that because there are a lot of angry fans out there because you're offering something that, even though I do believe that the Nintendo Switch online service is super cheap, it still is a situation where the cloud save should, frankly, it should be for more video games. That's the first thing. Like, you shouldn't have Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee not have cloud save functionality. That's just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Those games are really long. Even though some people are saying that, this game is going to be a watered-down version of the Pokemon franchise, still, the game isn't going to be 20 minutes. At the least, it'll probably be 5 hours? If less, that'd be sad. But probably, at the very least, 5 hours. So I feel like it's kind of like, if anything is longer than 2 hours, you should give me cloud save functionality. But let's see here. So I think I might know where the major malfunction is, and it might be a difference in wording that has been changed between when people initially saw the FAQ and maybe now a few days later. But so here's what it is right here. So I'm gonna copy and paste from Nintendo's actual website and compare it to another website that I just had up that will also be linked in the description box down below. Look at me linking, everyone, and I'm going to show why, at least not even their interpretation, their wording that they have copy and pasted from the Nintendo website, according to them, is a lot different than, or at least somewhat different than what I have, and I can see why people are thinking that the game data will be completely erased. So funnily enough, the website was IGN. Funny because of the fact that they're IGN. I'm sitting here like some website that I don't remember. Anyway, so the difference here is that people, not just IGN, but I think other people as well, are going with the UK wording, because apparently the UK FAQ and the US FAQ are very different. The UK one is a bit more straightforward, a little rougher and tougher, very much stiff upper lip, and I think the US one is kind of coddling us a little bit, and perhaps there might be a difference between what they can do in the UK and the US. Hear me out. So I already read the US one to you, which I'll read again. I'm going to read it again, everybody. Save data stored via the Save Data Cloud backup is available for as long as you have an active Nintendo Switch Online membership. That's the first paragraph, right? Now let's read the first paragraph according to IGN for the UK FAQ. Save data stored with Save Data Cloud cannot be kept outside of the duration of your Nintendo Switch Online membership. So that makes it sound as if it cannot be kept, i.e. we're going to delete that from our, i.e. Nintendo's own servers. Now back to the second paragraph for the US version of the FAQ. Classic games in the NES-Nintendo Switch Online collection and the save data for those games will not be removed unless a user chooses to do so manually. These items are stored locally on the Nintendo Switch system but cannot be accessed without an active Nintendo Switch Online membership. Now here's the difference. In the UK version, they're saying that the Nintendo Entertainment System - Nintendo Switch Online also uses the Save Data Cloud, so the same applies. However, if you keep the Nintendo Entertainment System's - Nintendo Switch Online save data saved locally on your Nintendo Switch console, then you can use it again if you purchase another membership. It might not sound like a lot, but I do believe that that difference right there is kind of what's making people think, oh God, our save data, not only can we not access it, which, yes, I understand, again, I've said it over and over, I totally get why some people are upset by that, but not just, oh, we can't access it, it's going to be wiped clean. So if I don't have the save saved locally and I put it on, the Nintendo Online service, and then I don't re-up my subscription, Nintendo's not even going to keep a backup of it. But we don't know that as of yet. Now, does that mean that if I had a Switch, I would be throwing up everything on the cloud save day one? Hell no. I would wait it out, yes. Maybe I wouldn't even get a subscription early on. I mean, heck, I don't even play any games online, even with my PS4. Even when I had the PSN subscription, I would just play with Satish Ram random wrestling games. So to me, it's a thing where it's definitely going to be a big deal. But I do think we have to have a little bit of wait and see attitude. I'm not saying to jump on the train and actually immediately sign up for the, for the service. I'm not saying to do that just yet. But what I am saying is we do have to see what's going to happen if Nintendo's actually going to do something like that. If they're actually going to not just let you access them, but remove them cleanly. And I do think that the wording between the US version and the UK version is a rather... It definitely has a different tone, and I wonder if that's just a difference between what they can do in the UK versus what they can do in the US. All right, guys. So, that was a lot. This was a lot shorter of Matt Rants than I usually do, but happy that I got all this info out. All right, guys. So, thank you all so much for listening in. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like the video, and if you don't like the video, you can still like and subscribe either way. Now, I want to hear your thoughts on this issue because I have a feeling that you guys might think completely differently. In fact, you guys might be thinking, it's not a big deal at all, or this is a catastrophe, or now that you've seen both versions, maybe you've changed your mind. I don't know. I just want to hear what you guys have to think. Again, my whole thing is we don't know yet. That's the problem with the question of this, this Matt Rants. It's technically an I don't know, right? Because I'm actually leaning towards, I don't think Nintendo would actually delete all that save data. It's not consumer friendly, and this is a new service, so you would think they would want to be consumer friendly with it. But at the same time, I get that, so I say it over and over and over again, but I have to acknowledge, I do get why some of you guys are like, no, but I should still be able to access it regardless if I've paid for the service once. I get where you're coming from. Or maybe you're okay with it. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much, and tune in next time for another episode of Matt Rants. All right, guys, so see ya.